Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm James Stickland, the CEO of Veridium. I'm going to walk you through a very brief presentation of our biometric authentication. We're an identity access management company with a core competency in biometrics, and it's important to link the two. The demonstration I'm just going to show you very briefly is with regards to our four-finger technology, so our 4F. It's important for a variety of different reasons, and it's unique for a variety of different purposes. If I can just flick to the demonstration. The interesting thing about biometrics, as we all know, is it's been around for 25 years or so. The challenge has always been on how accessible that it can be. We've actually spent a huge amount of time on focusing on the hardware that's available in the marketplace today at scale, so that we can actually make biometrics far more accessible and far more deployable. So just as a very kind of brief example here of what we're doing with the biometrics, we're using a very simple 5 megapixel camera to demonstrate an authentication measure. Now, as we all know, the ability to be able to spoof is kind of readily accessible for lots of activity now. So what we actually do as part of our enrollment process with our 4F is actually take a double depth picture. So as you're enrolling through the whole system, you're actually able to create a depth within your fingerprint and a liveness capability, which is specifically unique to what we've created. Good news, I can still get emails up here, which is good. So as you can see, it's readily accessible on a standard iPhone, anything with a 5 megapixel camera. And it's useful and unique so that we can actually provide security around the content and around the applications themselves. Which kind of leads me on to the thing that I think is really unique about Veridium, which is hard to demo, is a platform that we've built called BOPS, which is Biometric Open Protocol System, which actually allows us to be more effective on an enterprise basis and scale. So I'm a former JP Morgan IT strategist, global head of IT strategy, and an HSBC corporate venture guy. And I joined as CEO here because of the fact that we actually have a capability to actually enterprise scale. The big kind of challenges that we've had in my banking history is about stovepipe decisions to be able to make selections at any given point in time. So when's the right time to select a technology that's relevant? What we actually built with Veridium is this open protocol standard. We actually had an IEEE standard written by the company in the company's name called 2410, which allows us to be agnostic to biometrics. So as I say, biometrics have been around a long time. We have some biometrics specifically in one pillar of our organization, but we're also agnostic to the biometric choices. So we're able to work with other biometric providers to make this a rules-based decision. So the challenge, as I say, from an enterprise standpoint is when do you choose, what do you choose, how do you choose these things from a relevant rules basis? So now, with an open standard and a platform that you can plug in a spine vertebrae type fashion, you can actually plug in our biometrics and potentially other biometrics into that spine and drive a rules basis for whatever's relevant for your access and control. The other part of the platform that we've built, which is unique to the company, is about creating visual cryptography, which splits into two encryption sets of keys. So as a former banking employee, we're holding data of our clients, 60 million if it's HSBC and 50 million if it's JP Morgan, etc. And we're holding their data, we're holding their finances. I'm not sure the bank wants to become a custodian for people's biometrics, or any software vendor or any company wants to become a custodian for people's biometrics. So what we built with the platform is the ability to create two vectors. And currently it's two, and we may explore that and expand that further. But we give half of the sets of the keys to the enterprise and half of the sets of the keys to the user. That way, we can ensure that you'd have to be sat inside the data center with my device, using my biometrics to make these things connect and be able to open access and control. So there's a huge amount of opportunity for us, as we know, to fix the fraud issue that continues abound. There's $40 billion worth of card fraud. There's $10 to $15 billion worth of software fraud. And these things are all about non-repudiation. So we think with a platform basis, and with specific biometrics that we have uniqueness in that we can add that's accessible, we can bring these two things together and secure environments, create non-repudiation execution so that people are able to actually validate the user and the environment based on the rule base. The third part of the company, that utilizes our biometrics, is about replacing passwords and PINs for Active Directory. So it's a huge part of our growth plan this year, and this is really our kind of first real year in commercialization. And we're partnering with the likes of Citrix and Microsoft here to actually remove passwords from Active Directory straight through logins. So sitting down in front of your machine in a passive capability and having the camera on your desktop or on your laptop or even your mobile phone authenticate you as an individual will allow you then to avoid the consistent issue of password replacements. There's $180,000 worth of password cost in terms of password resetting for every 1,000 employees. So there's circa $5 to $6 million that we were spending at JP Morgan or $6 million at HSBC on just resetting passwords, predominantly on Monday mornings when people have had long weekends. So if we can remove that, and if we can make it accessible for people to sit down, log in, and consistently remain passively authenticated in a non-repudiatory fashion so that we can validate the user as opposed to it being a PIN or a password where we can't actually lock down the individual, we think we've got something pretty unique. So we're out in the hall. We'd love to take your questions and spend some time and show you more about the platform itself, and happily show you the demonstration live. Thank you very much.